Hey guys, so I just want to give you guys a quick adoption update. First off, here's my starting fees. Well, I don't think you, oh there, you can kind of see it better. The glare is not very good, but out of about $8,000-ish, $7,500-ish, I have paid over $5,000, $2,500-ish to go. Yay. I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can see the colors. Anyway, it's like a rainbow of happiness. So it is Wednesday, so I'm going to try to get this up tomorrow. But Monday I had my psychological assessment, which is mandatory for India now. I always find them weird because I had a very good childhood. My family and I are close. My family is very supportive. I don't have a lot of negative things to talk about. I don't. I don't have a lot of complaints. So a lot of the times when I felt this way with my last home study when I did private adoption too, that she was like pulling to try to find, like, I must be hiding something because no one's life is actually happy. And thankfully this lady wasn't too bad, but it's still, the questions they ask gives off that feeling that, what are you doing? That everyone's lives are miserable, and if you're happy, there's something wrong. And last time when I did it, it was like, hey, what was the biggest crisis in your life? And it was like, I haven't really had anything. I was 25, 26 at the time. I'm like, I didn't get into teachers college the first time, so I went to Korea. This time, thankfully, I did have to deal with the loss of my previous dog, which was very hard for me. So I did have that to talk about. But again, I never had to go see a psychologist about it. I never had to be put on meds for anxiety about it, anything like that. I've recovered from the grief. And my life is happy. My family's awesome. Yes, I don't physically have my family here. We're working on that. My older brother's looking to move out here either this summer or next summer. My parents, when they retire, are planning to move out here. So like, yeah, I always find it awkward because it's like, she's sighing. I always find it awkward because it's like, sorry, I don't have any issues to tell you about. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs. And so it consisted of a 30-minute interview, which ended up being like an hour and a half. And then when I got home, she had emailed me a link to a personality test. And the personality assessment, whatever you want to call it, was stupid because it was like clearly meant for people who have mental health issues or addiction issues, because the questions were about like, my drug use affects my relationships with my family. Agree, disagree, somewhat. And it's like, very disagree. I don't use drugs. Same with alcohol. My use of alcohol interferes with my work. False. I don't drink. So there's a lot of weird things like that. Or like, I think about suicide often. False. I love my life. Love my life. Like, just things like that it's clearly meant. Or like, I hear voices that are not my own. I hear voices that other people can't hear. Stuff like that. Like, very interesting questions that are not adoption focused, are not even parenting focused, are just personality assessments to make sure I don't have some hidden mental illness, I guess. Is happiness considered a mental illness these days? Because there's so many negative people in this world and so many people that want to ridicule each other and be cruel to each other, that happiness is no longer considered a good thing. I don't know. So that is done. I have a follow-up at the end of May. She wants to do an in-person follow-up just because she would rather do that in person. And I don't want to take time off work for it, so I am doing it. My next break is the May long weekend, and I have I think the Thursday and the Friday off before it, so heading back there to do it then, which gives me time to do some other stuff with the adoption because they don't need my psychological assessment to do my home study. they need to write my home study because they need to include it in my home study, and I need it to get approval from India, but I don't need them to do it before coming to visit me. So my plan right now is I have to pay them at least $500, which I'm paying them $1,000 at the end of April. So end of April, pay them $1,000, and then in May, do my 2 home visits. We are doubling up on visits. We did this when I did private adoption as well. Traveling to me, it's not a flight situation. I don't have to fly anyone to me, but because it's not like, she doesn't have an office for me to go to, because it's not my agency, it's the social worker who's hired by the agency. It's like a third party. She's closer to me than Calgary. So she will come to me for 2 visits, which we will double up on the visits. So instead of having 4 shorter visits, we will have 2 longer visits, if that makes sense. Last time I did the same thing. I had 1 super long visit because she flew up and she had to fly in the morning flight and leave in the afternoon flight. And then I had 1 normal appointment. 2 normal appointments. So I ended up having three appointments for private adoption. Anyway. And then what else did I need? Oh, my child intervention check for Alberta, I actually have it done. The girl that was doing it was trying to get my Ontario and my Manitoba one as well. I didn't know she was doing that, so I went and did those because that's what I was told to do. Anyway, it was a whole mess. Anyway, she decides that she's just writing there that I have no record in Alberta, and then my agency's responsible for making sure that my other ones are done, which they're done, so they're done. So I was gonna pick that up on, I think it was Tuesday I got that. Yes, Tuesday. Tuesday I got the message that that was ready, but I went and they were closed for lunch. So I said, screw that, I'll pick it up Friday because I'm not leaving the house. My breaks, I like to stay in my house. What else? And then my medical clearance. So my medical clearance, I'm just waiting for my medical MRI fun stuff to be done, and then I will have her do that. So I'll probably have her do that end of April maybe. We'll see exactly what things are happening when. Yeah, so the psychological assessment was fine. We did talk about parenting styles. She was really impressed because I've done a lot of research on Down syndrome, on trauma, on adoption in general, that even though I don't have in-person support, I do have so much support online, a lot of groups that I follow, a lot of groups that I'm in, that if I have a question about that's specifically trauma related or Down syndrome related, I can ask in those groups, whereas prior to the technological age of groups and forums and stuff, you're kind of on your own, whereas really nice now because in my community that I live in, I don't know anyone that's adopted. It's not a common thing in the community I live in, so to have those groups is probably better than having some in-person things. There is like Down Syndrome Association and stuff like that in Calgary, but it's not like I would really have that even if I had my family here. We did talk a bit about like, okay, right now, if my family is not here when she comes home, which she'll be home in about a year and a half. I'm aiming for summer 2019. So she'll be home about then. My older brother should be here then, but even if he isn't, we talked about who I know now here that would help me out. We talked about like what changes I expect to have, and it was funny because she was like, we were talking about like what I do for fun, and I was saying, oh, I read, I computer, whatever, blah, 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 and she's like, okay, so there's no like going out and drinking or anything like that, they're dancing or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm a homebody. She's like, okay, good, because then it's not like this huge interruption of your social life when you suddenly have a kid. I'm like, no, nope. So, overall, I think really went well. Like I said, it's just awkward to be like, I'm happy. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry that I'm happy. I had a great childhood. Sorry. Sorry, my parents are awesome. If you've watched any of my daily vlogs, you know my brother is awesome. My mom is awesome. My dad's awesome. My younger brother is different. No issues with him. I don't have issues with him. It's just we're not as close. But yeah, so anyway, that's it for today. I just wanted to give you that update. So basically the only thing I'm waiting for now that I actually have to do anything for is I need to drop off the paper for my medical check, which is about $60. So hopefully by the end of the month. And then once I have my, once I get paid, I will be sending off my money for my home visits. Yay! Excited for that. Excited. Yeah, and then I just have, so I owe them 2,500. So if I give them 1,000, I'll owe them 1,500. That'll be it. That'll be it. And I'll be done. So right now I'm aiming for approval. So home visits in May, approval by September, October, November-ish, fall. And then hopefully have enough to submit to India, because as soon as I get approval for my home study, I can technically submit to India then, but I financially will not be able to do that yet. So I'm aiming for January, February 2019 to submit to India. And then we'll see from there how fast we can get our home. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Questions, comments, go down below. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you guys later. Bye, guys.